Okay. Number 22. We can solve by graphing, which is what the instructions are, but honestly, we're really, because of what y'all know and the way and the equipment you have, ultimately, you're probably not really solving it by graphing so much as solving it by the quadratic formula. But let's look at it. We're starting with x squared plus 6x plus 3 is greater than 0. So we should start by finding the zeros, right? That's our primary goal. So how are we going to do that? Sure, we can try factoring it. Find what x equals to when y is 0, which on these problems y is already 0, but we're solving for x. And in a quadratic, the methods that we know are factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. What? That's where you move it over, and you do the green part, and etc. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be really funny is if some random person watches this video on these videos on this segment of YouTube and doesn't watch like the original video when we were doing that. What in the world is the green part? What is this math? What is happening here? Oh. Okay, so it has been suggested that we attempt factoring, which is a great idea because if it does factor, that's going to be the easiest way to solve it. So if this does if this factors, what are we going to do?
Put an
X and an X because A is 1, and then what?
That's 3 and a 1.
3 and a 1, and your wishful thinking was for not because he don't factor because 3 plus 1 or 3 minus 1 or negative 3 plus negative 1, none of those are 6, so it don't factor. So now what is our other recourse? After you cry, you have two options.
Do the quadratic formula.
Quadratic formula is definitely one of the options. What is? Yeah. It's minus. It is that. Good job. I would recommend this is I have a similar recommendation every time there's like something you have to memorize for a test is the very first thing you do when you get the test is write that down at the top of the page or else it will ooze out your ears when you actually need it later.
I'm going to do that to the green part too.
That's fine.
That's the one I usually forget.
The green part and well, if you have this one, you can probably remember the vertex formula because it's just the front part of this one. But negative b over 2a, vertex formula. Yeah. Okie smoky dokie. We're going to fill this in. What's b?
B is 3, 6.
3, 6, 9, 12. Oops, now you got me doing it. 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So 6 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 3, all over 2 times 1. Very good. I did what?
You almost forgot parentheses.
What now? Fight me. Okay.
If you forget a parenthesis, then the whole problem
problem falls apart.
Yeah, it just breaks.
Only if your brain can't.
Your calculator says syntax error, and then you have
It depends on the calculator and where the parentheses is. Some calculators you do have to close every parentheses, and some calculators it tries to think for you, which can often lead to disaster because the calculator doesn't know what you want it to do.
calculator thinks
6 squared is
It would be, yeah.
and then -4 times 1 times 3.
That was
-12.
It is -12.
Math in my head is not hard,
it's
except
like
when
-6 plus or minus. The biggest difference with this on the solve by graphing is quote unquote. Now, if we had a graphing calculator, that's really what they're actually asking you to do is stick it in a graphing calculator and get the answer. Really. But for our purposes, and I'll word it differently on the test. I'll word as given an exact answer. Which if the problem says given an exact answer, you would reduce this square root and then circle the thing. If the instructions say find the decimal solution or the approximate solution, then you actually get the square root, which is what we want right now. Does that make sense?
what?
Let me write down things in words. You ready?
yes.
If the instructions say find, that's an F, the exact, and that's the word we're looking for. Exact solution, then you leave the square root and circle the answer. You may have to reduce the square root, like for this example, we would have to divide a perfect square out of that because there is a perfect square that goes into 24 because 4 goes into 24, right? So we reduce that to 2 times the square root of 6 and then divide everything by 2 and then we'd circle the answer, right? We do all of that stuff. But you leave the square root if it says find the exact answer. If it says something like approximate solution, maybe 2 P's? Sure.
Yeah.
Approximate solution, then you get the decimal equivalent. You get 0.8.
4.898.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for on this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, equals -6 plus or minus, what'd you say, 4.89?
Yeah. 8. Wait, no.
Let's go to the thousandths.
4.899.
Okay, just kidding. Actually, that's fine. So, 4.900 is what you're telling me.
How many?
What it comes after this 9 right here. On the thing.
898,
So-
4.899 is
No, because we're rounding. So this, good Lord. Y'all don't know how to round, do you? So 8998 is what was in the calculator. Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Say oh no.
Yeah. No.
no, it was
8989.
Okay. So close. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see. So yes, I follow you. You just got to be able to use the correct words. Communication.
I gave you the rounded one.
You
Then you
did,
tried my rounded
but I experience has taught me that just because they say that something should be rounded to this does not mean that's a fact. And then you would add -6 plus that, -6 minus that, divide each one by 2, and move on with your life. Any other questions about this problem? Any other questions from the homework set?
Yeah. Can you do number 14? Oh, wait, no.
I can.
Yeah, it's fine.
Are y'all fighting over there? Do we need to go pop some popcorn?
Ooh, popcorn sounds good.
Exactly. We can pop popcorn, watch y'all fight. It'll be great.
Do you have popcorn here?
don't know, maybe.
Somebody else can do that.
What'd you say?
I'm not digging the grave. Somebody else can do that.
Fights don't always end in death. In fact, mostly they don't.
This one could.
Of course it could. That's true.
Not even
It's
fighting over
possible.
here.
Humans can be surprisingly fragile.
God, one's fighting.
Humans are surprisingly fragile. That is true.
It's like the third true thing you said in this
Y'all
class.
are always fighting. Yeah, the other one's fighting. We
Which is
need to
weird
Nuh-uh.
because
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's weird because humans are also
So we're supposed to graph this thing. We know all kinds of different possibilities.
Factor.
Sure. Sounds great. Sounds grand and glorious. Let's try to factor it. So if we factor this guy, what does he turn into?
X plus 2 and then X minus O.
I almost thought you were wrong, but then you listed the numbers backwards of what I thought you were going to say. So, but it's correct. Sounds grand and glorious. Y is greater than x plus 2 times x minus 4. True facts.
Cool, and then you do a thing. You put them into their own equations, and you have to like take them to the side. So yeah, it's pretty much changes.
X plus 2 is less than 0. X minus 4 is less than 0. X is less than negative 2, and x is less than negative 4.
Wait, what did we just want?
Yes, it would. Thank you. You are correct. Okay. So we know this much.
you're really bad at closing that window.
So that's not enough to be going on with, so we need to do another thing.
Vertex.
Sure. How you want to do it?
We're gonna do it the
Vertex form.
Vertex form or vertex formula?
Form.
Okay. The hard long way. Sounds great. Let's do it.
I don't know which way they said. And I don't know
I'm going to move over the negative 8.
that. Oh, we don't do that one.
Yes, we do, because I need practice with it.
Long.
What's the other practice? What is the other one?
Vertex formula. Negative b over 2a. Gives you the x part. Plug it in, gets you the y part.
So much
But this is fine.
Yep.
Life is not all about you, toadstool. So, okay. Okay, what should we do now? You just want to do the green part. That's you're Okay, so what should we do now? Oh yeah, it is the green part. Okay, so what now? What's going to go in the green part?
2 divided by 2 squared.
Negative 2 divided by 2 squared, right?
Squared equals 1.
What am I doing? Something. Are you being bothered that I didn't write a 1 right here? Is that what you're fussing about? Okay. There it is. It's right there. I'll even make it a cool little Roman 1. Look at that. So cute. A little top heavy, but he works. Okay, now.
What does the green part do?
The green part gives you nothing whatsoever.
Gives you 1. Hey, I got that.
And then what?
You gotta add.
Then you have to subtract it from the other side of the page.
Yeah.
And then we can put it in the
Wait, so the green part can use
so
this
we
enough?
do y equals
Yeah, of course it does nothing. It always does nothing. You can't just randomly add stuff without canceling it. Balance. Math is about balance. Math will bring world peace because it's about balance. Are y'all griping over there?
No, I thought you said math is about balance.
Math is about balance.
2020 election ballots. Ballots.
Oh, ballots. Oh,
Yes, balance.
2020. Yeah, depends on which flavor of the election, whatever else, all the things.
Count the ballots. Counting is
So what's the vertex?
I don't know.
1 -9.
That's why I got it the other way.
Now what? Wait.
Yeah, that's my line. Now what?
I need to go with a 1.
Then you put actually in the graph, and then figure it out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And you give it extra
Dot.
curve, and then you're done.
No, you've got to finish the inequality.
Do that part, but that's
Now, we're going to end up shading on the inside, right?
Yes. Now we're gonna.
I also made a mistake. What mistake did I make?
I have no idea.
Put it on the website.
No, I didn't put it on the wrong side. That's a good guess, but that's not what the mistake was.
You did it in pink.
No. This should be a dash line, right?
Oh, I forgot that was a thing.
That's also my line. Why is it a dash line? Because it's not equal to. It's only greater than. And we are going to shade up because it's greater than above. Now, what you're liable to see in college, and is probably best practice because there are some weird times when you kind of have to do this. Best practice is to test every region. So like you would stick something in over here, like what is this number that's -2? Like put -5 in here and see if it comes out true. It's not going to come out true. And then put 0 in there and it comes out true. And then you'd put whatever that is, how about 5 in there and it would come out false. Or you can just look at it.
Yes.
But you're liable to see that at some point, so I don't want it to completely confuse you like that doesn't make any sense ever. Makes sense, everybody? Any questions on this stuffs? You need to now turn in your book to page 295. If you don't have your book, use your neighbor's.
Do you have pages?
No.
I don't know how I would turn pages from the 190.
295.
I can use your book.
I want you to work on the evens on this in class today. That at the end of class, you're going to come with your cell phone, telephone, and take pictures of the answers and see if you have any other questions. You're welcome to send them to me. You have a test on Tuesday. And then here's the really cool thought with that is you're going to take a test. We're going to have 2 days of, at this point, because of time and because of time frame, you're gonna have 2 days of intense TSI prep. You're gonna take a test the last day of school, and then you're gonna have summer. Yay!
Wait, what? What is TSI? Wait.
TSI prep. Wait, you were the one asking about it the other day, goober.
What?
Yeah, you were, or possibly somebody that looks like you. I don't remember. I don't really remember who it was.
Is the Tuesday test gonna be like formatted like
We know
this?
there's at least one person who looks like you.
Wait, are you gonna be?
Yes.
That was the longest answer.
Wait.
She had to think through it. There's some point where you're not going to be here, right?
It was next week that you weren't gonna be.
No, I'm not gonna, I have to leave at 10, or close to 10, or.
On Tuesday.
Yeah. I can be a little bit late.
Fast
Well, I mean, we can make things work. We can let you show up early, something. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Yeah, so do the evens today. Work on those so that you can ask questions. You may want to skip to ones that look scary, so that you can ask questions about them while you have access to me in person.
Yeah, because you don't like responding on the Discord.
I have responded to you several times. I did not respond to your last text message because I figured it was just A, it was off topic, and B, I figured it was just kind of an announcement, and I appreciated it, and I allowed it to happen, and didn't do anything terrible about it. But if you're talking about a long time ago, you got to let people mature, man, even if they're old farts like me.
They could post the pictures of the answer.
You're gonna post them. You're gonna take pictures of them before you leave.
No.
You're gonna take pictures of them before you leave. Like this would be a quadratic function. So would this. So would this. Etc. Anything where x squared is the highest thing. It's what this unit is about, basically.
We talked about the axis coordinate. No, vertex.
Coordinate of the vertex is like just
How
the
did you
vertex.
answer?
Is that like
It's the x part of it. So without finding the y part.
okay? So find the
Oh, comma C.
Vertex formula. All you need.
Oh, the y-intercept.
X equals -b over 2a.
Okay, so
All you
standard
need.
form. Axis of seven
Correct.
standard form. F of x equals a of x squared.
b over 2 squared.
2a. It's just the outside part of the quadratic formula.
This right here. It's, I think I found the answer to question. Question 2. To find all
probably
those things,
smart.
it's from this one standard form of axis. Yeah, so lesson 1.
There you go. Figuring out whatever you're asking about.
Unit form. Oh, I was like, wait. That's your picture. I tried.
Unit 4.
Which number is that?
So I just go ka-ching, ka-ching. That's number
Well,
2.
no, not really. Take a cheek.
I
What's
feel
your?
like I'm missing part of number 2 though.
We should probably memorize that one.
That's the vertex part or the axis of symmetry part or something.
I think it's the vertex part.
Yeah, can write all the formulas down.
How do you find
No, no,
the
that's
axis
fine.
We need to help each other.
of symmetry?
Just the vertex formula.
A equals B
So
over
Standard
2A.
one, axis of symmetry.
This is
Yeah.
vertex formula.
Yeah, so just text
We
what
just
you
need to
know.
tell each other and also like tell each other we can memorize.
What'd you say?
Don't forget to remember.
What?
Yeah.
I just did the vertex form, so is that both the
Vertex form or formula?
form?
EULA. Negative B over 2A.
Yeah.
Formula. That's what you're looking for, yes.
For the axis of symmetry or the vertex, the x coordinate of the vertex?
What? That's the x part of the vertex. It's also the axis of symmetry.
No.
C equals 0?
Mm-hmm.
So 0, 0. Is that the axis?
No, it's not the axis of symmetry, but it's the y-intercept.
Oh, what? So the axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a?
Yes. Minimum?
Yeah, that would be the other option. That's true. So, and where is the minimum? Just look at this blue thing that I wrote. Quit looking at that thing. Where is the minimum?
Oh,
At the bottom.
Right there. What that has a fancy name, the vertex. And which, if we're looking for the minimum, would we be looking for the x or the y part of the vertex? Which one is actually the minimum here? The x, the up and down, or left and right?
left and right?
Left and right keeps going that way.
Yeah, but up and down keeps
So it
that way.
for the up part, hence the minimum idea.
Oh.
So we're looking for the y part of the vertex.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep, we are. Yeah, y part of the vertex.
No.
Which is always C, right?
No, that's the y-intercept.
That's my answer.
Definitely not.
Same difference.
Same difference.
Don't do that on the test. You'll be annoyed with yourself.
For
I've
number
already
1,
seen this notice myself. I don't understand about
I'm listening.
for number 1, the x, and
number 1.
You went
X.
over one.
x,
She can ask about whatever she wants. The x what now?
intercept, is that a fraction?
The x-intercepts?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not even rational. It's probably irrational. I think you'd have to use the quadratic formula.
I did.
Okay, good.
And it's,
I don't know. The key doesn't get, but you're gonna get something, some weird decimal,
how am I
something.
supposed to graph that?
Oh, okay.
Well, you don't need all of those things. You can use the other puzzle pieces that you have. You're on those three. Remember when we first did this? When we first did this unit at the very beginning, we weren't graphing with the x-intercepts at all. You could put a dot at like approximately where those are. That'd be fine. I mean, that's fine. Like you would have gotten, I don't even know what. Let's see, you would have gotten something like 2 point something probably. I'm totally guessing. No,
1.3.
I was close. Sure, why not? 1.3 and then something else. What'd that be?
Negative 5.3.
Yeah, negative 5. Yeah, 1. So you could stick a dot basically where that is on the x-intercepts if you want to. If you are to graph it, which is part C, right? You are supposed to just use those like 3 points. And remember, come back to me. Remember that so you're going to have the vertex, right? For one thing, you're also going to have where's the vertex on this one? Which quadrant?
Oh, negative 2, negative 11,
So quadrant 3.
yeah.
Okay, so you will have this, and then you'll also have something. You're talking about number 1? Okay, so you'll also have something like this here. I'm just kind of. So What you will know then, because parabolas are symmetric, is that you also have a point over here. The same distance from the vertex. And then you connect. Yes, because you should have found the y-intercept, right?
How do I find that?
It's always C. That's another thing that I'll always say a few more times.
Make that blue.
Make it blue, color coded. These are going to be quite colorful tests. Yeah. Like 5/4 squared, the one that keeps getting bandied about. I don't know if that's the one you're doing or if you're doing something else, but like 5/4, hello, stupid machine, squared would be 25 over 16, because 5 squared is 25 and 4 squared is 16.
One more time, just.
I don't know why it's going places, or why it's being pushed around, because it should be 24. Oh well. Not 5 should. It should, yeah. Because that's what happens when
Symmetry
you
is
have
the
to-
expert.
Yes.
You get a different number.
Specifically, because it's a line, x equals the x part.
Okay, just
Linear functions, quiz 1.
Are there anything else?
I don't know. Look at the thing. As you are doing. It's very good. So smart. I don't know. That's quadratic formula, vertex form, y-intercept. I don't know whether you want some to have. It goes with quadratic formula and factoring, but the x-intercepts are also called the zeros. And they're also where you set y equals 0 and solve for x using one of 3 methods, right? But that's most of the things, if not all the things.
I'm not a big fan of fractions.
I've heard you say that before.
And then.
Not sure I have the right answer at all.
Would you like to know?
Yeah,
Which number are you talking about? Number 2?
number 2.
So number 2, the axis of symmetry is x equals 5/4. The y-intercept is 0.
Yeah, I don't know
0
what I'm doing then.
for the y-intercept.
Any of that.
So the original function, well, you found 5/4, didn't you?
At some point, yeah.
Okay, so you're using to find that, you use the vertex formula, negative b over 2a, right? So that's where this came from,
Yeah.
okay? For the y-intercept, it's always c.
What you see.
Because you started with f of x equals -2 times x squared plus 5x, right? So there is no c, and if there is no c, then what is c?
0.
0. That's the same as this. X coordinate is 5/4. That's a fifth.
Daniel gave me very bad information and made me waste my time.
What you were finding was the y part, the y coordinate of the vertex, which that problem technically doesn't ask for. It's good practice because you'll need to do it later, but it's doesn't actually ask for that in that problem.
Are there going to be any word problems?
Almost certainly.
Word problems are easier than regular problems.
they're the worst.
Yeah, I actually understand
They're the
word
worst
problems.
thing ever.
If I give you a word problem, which is likely, it'll be a lot like number 12, where it gives you a formula and then asks you to do something with it.
I like that.
In fact, I would bet on there being one word problem and it being a lot like number 12. That's what I would bet on. You're welcome.
Yay.
Somebody text Emily.
I'm very careful about that.
Uh,
Are you gonna like start a petition? No more word problems.
I actually
Yes,
want to now.
I
But
would
isn't
say
like
I
the
would
word
say
problems
that.
technically?
Why do you
how
guys
how
not
you
like
actually
word
use the
problems?
math in a real life situation?
Not all the time.
in this context, it will connect these word problems on this thing will help you a lot in the first few units of physics.
What's wrong with word problems?
I'm not in physics, so.
People are scared of word problems because in word problems you have to actually think.
Yes.
You don't have, because you can't really, you can. Saxon actually tries to boil word problems down to where you still just memorize a bunch of crap and somehow pull it off. But then the problem with that is when the word problem is just a little bit different, your whole head implodes. And so the better way to teach word problems is there isn't a step-by-step process. You have to think and use the information that you have and put it together with the other information you have and get answers.
Unless they forget to give you information.
In physics, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I will tell you it now. At the bell, we should install a bell. That would be fun. Something happy, but not "Happy" by Pharrell Williams. That's overplayed. But anyway, in physics on the word problems, which is basically all physics is a bunch of word problems. It's really all it is, with a bunch of formulas. Match the units to the variables. And then if you have these four things and you have a formula with those same four things, that's the formula you use. A lot of it really is that simple. You just do this and then, oh, it matches that one. I wonder which one I use. It's not quite that simple, but if you keep that in mind, a lot of things that are quote unquote difficult, you will find to be much easier if you keep that in mind. Goodbye, children. Oh, y'all will want to take pictures of the answers, so you have them.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be appreciated.
There are answers on this page and answers in right here.
I can't see where you're pointing, so.
There you go. Stab yourself.
What?
I use a sharp object to mark the page, but the sharp object is closed, so it's okay.
Ooh, sure. Oh, sure.
What if I still somehow stab myself?
Like a knife?
No, class was already done.
I was like, did you push your vegetable? I lost my vegetable. Here's the yesterday. I think it might just be somewhere like that. Oh. Is this the? Why is that not the trash